Hello, welcome again to Democracy Today. I am Usaitin Yari, sitting in for Ijoma Osamo. It's a full package as we track developments emerging from 3 zones of the country. First on the cards tonight is development from Kaduna State. Organized trade unions led by the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) brought the Kaduna metropolis to a standstill as economic activities were paralyzed in the state. Reports say that Kaduna residents had to embark on the stockpile of food and other essential items. This morning, long fuel queues occasioned by panic buying were seen across the city as only about 2 fuel stations were open with many others short. The electricity distribution company had also cut off supplies since Sunday, leaving many residents without power. The NLC mobilized all unions to join in the planned 5-day warning strike in Kaduna, which began this Monday morning, to force the state government to cancel its planned mass sack of civil servants. Letters made available to the media showed that other unions, including the National Union of Electricity Employees, National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions, Employees, Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, amongst others, say they are in full support of the move led by the national leadership of the NLC. The state government, led by Governor Nasir El-Rufai, has said previously that there is no going back. According to the government, its decision is hinged on the need to right-size the public service. The government has hinged its move on the need to reduce the huge personnel costs, as well as the need for proper educational qualification by its personnel. Before we visit Kaduna State to speak with some of the principal actors in this unfolding saga, let's hear track-ups and reports from what happened earlier today.
How does he expect a worker that has worked for 25 years? Some have worked for 30 years. You just claim that those workers should be thrown out of their jobs without providing social security cover for them. This is where we are. And therefore, this is something that we must continue to insist that it should not happen.
Initially, the money we are paying, 24,000 naira for indigent, 36,000 naira for non-indigent. Some of us students are unable to pay that particular money. And now you have increased the money to 170, 200 and 300. We don't want that increment. We want you to do total reversal.
And we are here today, Mr. President, to do justice to Kaduna State workers, to stay here and solidarize with our people.
All right, some sound bites for you, and we quickly jump over now to Kaduna State, where we have Uche Ekwe, former lawmaker and head International Affairs of the NLC, as well as Ambali Akim, the President, National Union of Local Government Employees, NULG. Welcome to you both, gentlemen. All right, we can see Mr. Uche. Let's just begin with you immediately, sir. Tell many Nigerians, for those who are coming across, who are hearing about this development for the first time today and are just seeing clips from what happened and heard about it via the news. Give us a background. Tell us what has been going on and what led up to today. What is wrong with the move by the Kaduna State government? A move that he said is designed to save its financial resources, of course, coming off the back of the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course to ask for its workers to comply to some educational standards. All right, since we have some challenges with Barrister Uche, if you can't hear us probably because of the network, can we join Mr. Ambali Akim right now? Hello, Mr. Ambali. Hello, Mr. Ambali Akim, as the President, National Union of Local Government Employees. How do you do, sir? Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Ambali Akim, can you hear me now? All right, we seem to have some network challenges. Let's take this quick break and we'll be right back to reconnect with our guests who are standing by.
Did you know that AIT's social media handles have all changed? If you are one of the millions of our followers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, this is introducing to you AIT's new official and rebranded social media handles. Like or follow us now on our Facebook page, Official AIT Live. If you're on Twitter, switch to our new handle at Official AIT Live and activate the notification button to get breaking news and updates on the go. For exclusive short videos and photo news, follow our Instagram account at Official AIT Live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official AIT Live, and enjoy live streaming of news and your favorite programs, where you can also watch our broadcast materials at your own convenience. Note that Official AIT Live is the only authentic social media profile name with all the handles on our website ait.live, with a notification prompt to accept and receive breaking news and updates on the go. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube platforms on your smartphone, tablet device, laptop, and desktop to follow us now. AIT.live. On air, online, online. Did you know that AIT's social media handles have all changed? If you are one of the millions of our followers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, this is introducing to you AIT's new official and rebranded social media handles. Like or follow us now on our Facebook page, Official AIT Live. If you're on Twitter, switch to our new handle at Official AIT Live and activate the notification button to get breaking news and updates on the go. For exclusive short videos and photo news, follow our Instagram account at Official AIT Live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official AIT Live, and enjoy live streaming of news and your favorite programs, where you can also watch our broadcast materials at your own convenience. Note that Official AIT Live is the only authentic social media profile name with all the handles on our website ait.live, with a notification prompt to accept and receive breaking news and updates on the go. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube platforms on your smartphone, tablet device, laptop, and desktop to follow us now. AIT.live. On air, online, online.
All right, we apologize for that breaking transmission, but we are glad to report to you now that our guests can hear us, and we believe we'll be expect to hear them now. Once again, I introduce to you Uche Ekwe, is a former lawmaker and head international affairs of the NLC, as well as Ambali Akim, is the president, National Union of Local Government Employees, NULG. I welcome the two of you, sirs, and let's just begin immediately to save our time. Mr. Ekwe, I was asking you to lay for Nigerians a background as to how we got to where we are today. Now, tell us what has led to this, as you called it, mother of all protests, and tell us exactly what is wrong with the Kaduna State's move, to, as it were, reduce some of its financial exposure in terms of paying personnel costs, and also calling on some of its employees to say, please go and improve your educational level.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Ekwe. Go ahead, please.
The Kaduna government, led by its governor, decided to sack under a Trump
All right, it would appear that we have poor network reception from the end of Barrister Ekwe, but we'll try and reconnect with him when his network improves. Let's see if we can connect now with Mr. Ambali Hakim, the President, National Union of Local Government Employees. All right, Mr. Hakim, if you can hear me, please give us, yes. Thank you very much for joining us. Try to see if you can help us answer the question I posed to Mr. Ekwe. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, you were asking us about what led to this.
Yes.
It was as a result of flagrant disobedience to extant rules and laws guiding rule of engagement of public servants by employer of labor, as witnessed in Kaduna under the leadership of Governor El-Rufai. You see, what happened? The systematic destruction, infliction of pains and suffering on Nigerian Kaduna workers started in 2017 on Trump allegations. The governor said he did aptitude tests for some workers, and based on that, in local government, he sacked in a single breath 5,000 workers. And since that 2017 up till now, as contained in his letter, that their entitlement shall be paid in due course. Up till now, no prematurely retired or dismissed workers was paid a single kobo. It even affected the president of Norge Kaduna State, who became depressed shortly after that premature disengagement. He died, and his family are left to abject poverty and suffering due to so many workers in Kaduna State. And again, after that, in 2021, Governor El-Rufai returned back to that same perilous way by dismissing 2,441 local government workers again in Kaduna. He did not even stop at that. He went ahead without following the due process to reduce the salaries, the minimum wage of civil servants, especially local government workers. He reverted it from 30,000 agreed minimum wage according to the minimum wage law, and reverted it back to 18,000. This impunity has been found out by labor, and we issued a statement during our National Executive Council meeting telling the whole world that this disregard for extant rules that guide employment has been found out by the National Executive Council, and we wrote Governor El-Rufai to revert that anti-workers policy. But up to now, he never answered labor. He never invited labor leaders to any meeting, formal meeting for that matter. And that is why labor said, no, this should stop. You have sent so many workers to their premature death, and some of them have children in schools. You didn't even stop at that. He increased astronomically the school fees payable by children and students of public servants. That's why we are here in Kaduna to say that we must follow the process. What the law says, the ILO Convention, Trade Union Act, and global best practice is that if you want to declare redundancy, you want to implement redundancy law, workers union, that is the labor movement of that worker, shall be consulted. Governor El-Rufai did not do this. He did not invite labor leaders. He never did any collective bargaining. On a single breath, he dismissed all these workers. And since 2017, those that were retired are lavishing in abject poverty, deprivation, psychological torture, and some have even died.
All right, Mr. Kip, so we just wanted to let you lay some of that foundation before we take you up on some of the things you have raised. And specifically, I'll pick up areas from your statement. First of all, because I want to make the line of demarcation in terms of where the government has disagreed with you or in information it has released to us in the media, we have discrepancies in what you have told us now and what is readily available. The government says that less than 2,000 workers are those affected, while you have told us now that over 2,000. The government also disagrees with you that it has not in any way reduced the minimum wage. And also, it also tells to us, and this is specific to you now as the NULG president, that Labour, because I also come back to ask Mr. Ekwe that the Labour chairman in the state, that's the Labour Union chairman in the state, did not participate at a government meeting that was called on this matter, and that your instead NULG representative was at that meeting. And it has also disputed with you on these school fees issues and all of that. So tell us where all these are coming from, especially.
Let me say categorically that today we witness great falsehood in the information dished out by representative of the government. But we realize that there has been confusion because the man that represented government decided to act as commissioner for information. That is why when Maope was asking him some fundamental questions, that how many workers has been laid off, he was unable to give accurate data on this. And you know, my members are involved. All of them gave their letter of disengagement to their union. And we have the record. They can't fault this. All in all, between 2017 and now, Governor Rufai has sacked 7,441 local government workers. If he says no, you should bring out all the documents, one by one. All these workers disengaged. He did 5,000. He never paid them any compensation or paid them their gratuity. And this current one, he did that. Now you talk about issue of tampering and tinkering illegally with national minimum wage law. He did a table which is in my custody presently. He did not even say it orally. He has issued the table with analysis.
All right. There's also some, sorry, apologies to cut in there, but there's also some information that says that that document that which Labour is relying on has been forged. Do you have any information that that disputes that fact? And as well, can you confirm to us that no member of your NULG in Kaduna State participated in that reconciliation meeting?
Let me tell you, how can you falsify downward reduction in your salary? Are you an enemy of yourself? Are you the one paying yourself? Who did the calculation? Who did table step by step? You see, what happened was that why did Governor Rufai refuse to pay local government workers for April salary until 2-3 days ago? If he has not tinkered with the table. You see, as a result of labor trade, he may be contemplating reverting it. That is a welcome idea to Labour. But we say that the meeting purportedly called, which they are claiming, Noge is not aware of that. And the principal in Noge is the national secretary, which I represent as the numero uno of that union. We were never officially called to any meeting, and meeting of negotiation with Labour. I challenge the government to come out with the communique signed with Noge, saying that we agreed. That was not done. When they started dishing out this falsified information, Noge, Kaduna State branch, was mandated to write a letter, and the letter has been written. And today, when you see the massive turnout of local government workers, you realize that Noge fully participated in this issue. Noge is ready to defend the interests of their members. All the falsehood cannot hold water. If they are so confident, why are they jittering inviting Labour to a negotiating table? Anywhere in the world, when you want to discuss about workers' welfare, the law of tripartism must be there. And once that is available, is implemented, workers will say yes. If you want to disengage workers prematurely, we must come to round table. There must be collective bargaining. You must come out with the facts. You cannot say because you are dishing out some information that is not correct. If Governor Rufai is sincere with people of Kaduna State and local government, let him directly release local government allocation to local government. We made bold to say that local government, if the money is released to them for the last couple, we don't need his assistance.
All right.
And number two, let me also say that funding of primary education is not a function of local government. By Supreme Court judgment of 2004, it says that local government will collaborate. If Governor Rufai wants to allow local government to try, let him hands off revenue from local government.
All
Why
right.
is the governor hell-bent on taking revenue from motor
Mr.
parks,
Akim.
from signages, from even tenement rate?
Mr. Akim, thank you very much. Let's see if we can also harvest the contributions of our colleague Uche Ekwe, who's of the NLC, who's also part of this conversation. Hello, Mr. Ekwe, can you hear us now? And is the network better at your end?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you better now.
Can
All
you
right.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you better now, sir. All right, so he has laid some of the foundation.
Yeah, my colleague. Yes.
Go ahead. Let's hear you before I ask you a question then.
Yeah. Are you hearing me?
We can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, the president of Norway have laid a very strong foundation. And I just want to add, if you say there is claims and counterclaim, and the man pretends to be ready to do dialogue, why has he not called for a meeting to clarify this thing? Is clarifying to the media. We wrote him a formal letter raising all the points in writing to him. And he didn't invite us to a meeting to clarify it, but they find it convenient to be issuing tissues of lies out to the media, even tissues of lies of claim for arranging a dialogue. The president also tried to show you that if you must declare redundancy, with the law is very clear about the conditions for declaring redundancy, there will be discussion. But first of all, it is clear there is already a bad faith. He unilaterally disengaged, declared redundancy, and sent away 7,000 local governments. And read the statement issued by one of his commissioners threatening us. He owned up sending those workers away and claimed for the case of teachers that he have employed new people. Now, but up to now, if you are looking for the facts, he has not paid any of the people he retrained any kobo. He gave the example of even their former president in the state who died. So he has shown gross discontent for livelihood and the life of people. So this is clear to us. Recently we held a national summit, and every Nigerian is scared about the security situation.
All right, Mr. Ekwe, if I might butt in there a bit. So let's address some of the issues. And issue number one will be, Mr. Ambali has also said that, look, why has the governor not also called a meeting? But we hear, you correct us if the information that filtered to us here in the newsroom is wrong, that the leadership of the NLC was going to be having a meeting with the governor this evening. We don't know how correct that is, but you are here now to clear that up for us. And also tell us the fact that the government says it has been engaging workers all the way from 2018 and all of this. And so, finally, I also want you to tell us, because the figures are in dispute, can you explain to us how you have arrived at this 7,000 number, and if you have this as proof to show in any place where it to be requested?
Well, the president have told you outrightly that we can bring out in letters. They are human beings. We are not talking theories. We are not talking some people. The people have their letters. Those letters can be collected with the names, their families, and where they come from. So it's a fairly straight thing. It's not something that you can say there's a dispute or no dispute.
Okay.
That they have not been paid since retrenchment is also a fact that is verifiable. Now, some people, if the government claims that have not happened since 2017, that the government have not shown any good faith to even come to a round table, to even discuss the matters. So it's surprising if they are denying this fact, that they have not followed the rules, even under the military. Military governors call labor for meeting and explain what they are doing or what they want to do And even if the military not elected holds dialogue, how do you explain that a man that swore to uphold the Constitution and the law have no dominion?
All right, Mr. Ekwe,
Or the ability
Mr.
to
Ekwe.
meet with his employees? Yes.
Thank you very much. For the sake of our time, stay with us because we have one more question to you, but let's circle back now with Mr. Akim to just answer this for us. So the state government says, look, there are other states who are not paying up to 30,000 minimum wage. As far as they are concerned, they have maintained that, and they also went ahead to give their wage bill and all of those, which made those public for the people to see their own side of the story. And it accused you of even going to hire protesters for this march that happened today, that it is not members of the state public service, both the local government especially. And also, there's also the issue that there are other states that are not paying up to 30,000 naira minimum wage. And so why are you not in those states? Why are you in Kaduna State? Is there an ulterior motive, sir?
Let me put it correctly. There is no state in the federation that has retrenched.
Mr. Hakim, go ahead.
One that abused the extant rules in terms of labor laws.
Because I want to send this tonight. I the way the last time I'm sending alone.
Mr. Hakim, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's talk.
The one state that have frequently abused the extant rules and global best practices in labor-employer relationship is Kaduna State. Number two, he claimed that we hire people. If you want to hire people, will anybody agree to come to Kaduna that has become the epic center of insecurity in Nigeria? Number three is that all this information that is being dished to the public, you know, should not have the advantage of getting the correct version of the data. But he knows that labor has their own statistics. We have our information, we have our data. That is why they are afraid to call labor to a round table. Because if we are talking about IGR, what happened to all the retinue of aides that were appointed by Kaduna State government that are taking full salary without commensurate productivity to public governance and administration? What happened to all the local government? They have many political jobbers there that are virtually doing nothing, that are being paid. If we must go to equity, we must go with clear hands. If we say we have building revenue in Kaduna State, let Governor Rufai demonstrated patriotic leadership by slashing his own salary by 50%. Let him also slash the salary of political functionaries by 50%. Even
All right. All right.
That, when we do that, and we also come to a round table, you show us the statistics. Labor are reasonable people. We are not interested in creating crisis. But if you want to bleed us to death, we have the right to shout and talk loudly to the whole world that this is impunity currently going on against the workers in Kaduna.
All right, thank you, Mr. Akim. Mr. Ekwe, the final question to you so that we can move on for tonight on the, in our program is the fact that the government has referred to Labour as hypocrites. Can you hear me, Mr. Ekwe? Hello, Mr. Ekwe, are you with me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. The government has described the
Yes.
NLC as hypocrites, accusing you of not able to pay the minimum wage even for your workers here in Abuja. How do you respond to that criticism? Or attack, if you call it that, whatever you choose, sir.
Well, I'm a worker. I'm a worker in NLC. So I'm not an elected person. So the rules of payment, our rules of payment over the years of minimum wage NLC staff is that usually the NLC salary structure is not, for its staff, it's not the same with the either the federal service or the state service. And by our rule, once we finish and make sure that minimum wage implementation after a new negotiation goes to 3/4, it will be implemented dating from where it started. This has been an age-long practice.
All right.
So trying to use that as a blackmail does not hold any waters.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't hold waters.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to appreciate the two of you who have joined us tonight. Ambali Akims, the President, National Union of Local Government Employees, NULG, as well as Uche Ekwe, former lawmaker and head International NLC. International Affairs NLC, I beg your pardon. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you for being a comrade in the struggle.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on now on the conversation in the program today. Moving over to Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Governors on the platform of the People's Democratic Party held a meeting to discuss issues of insecurity, the economy, and other threats facing the country. The meeting, which comes on the heels of that of the Southern governors that threw up several resolutions, including a collective ban on open grazing and a call on the president to convoke a national dialogue, amongst others. The PDP governors meeting, which was chaired by Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State, also had in attendance the national chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, and other National Working Committee NWC members. A communique released at the end of the meeting called on the president as the Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces to immediately send an executive bill to the National Assembly to amend the Nigerian Constitution to devolve more powers to the states with respect to security arrangements culminating in some form of state policing and the general security architecture. In the interim as well, Mr. President should summon an immediate meeting of the Nigerian Police Council, which comprises Mr. President and all state governors and other critical stakeholders to evolve and implement strategies to combat the present threats to the nation, especially with respect to policing. The meeting agreed that the police force still remains the appropriate institution to secure our democracy and should not be subjected to personal attacks. The welfare, training, equipment, funding of all security agencies should be given priority. The meeting supports the earlier position taken by the Nigerian Governors Forum, Northern Governors Forum, and recently by the Southern Governors Forum to adopt ranching as the most viable solution to the herders-farmers clashes in Nigeria. The restructuring of the Nigerian Federation to devolve more powers and functions to the states and reform of various civil institutions to achieve efficiency and equity for all sections of Nigeria. All right, that's a portion of the communique that was released by the PDP governors after their meeting today in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Of course, we'll be engaging more on this conversation tomorrow, so keep a date with us. But our program continues now after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Did you know that AIT's social media handles have all changed? If you are one of the millions of our followers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, this is introducing to you AIT's new official and rebranded social media handles. Like or follow us now on our Facebook page, Official AIT Live. If you're on Twitter, switch to our new handle at Official AIT Live and activate the notification button to get breaking news and updates on the go. For exclusive short videos and photo news, follow our Instagram account at Official AIT Live. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official AIT Live, and enjoy live streaming of news and your favorite programs, where you can also watch our broadcast materials at your own convenience. Note that Official AIT Live is the only authentic social media profile name with all the handles on our website ait.live, with a notification prompt to accept and receive breaking news and updates on the go. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube platforms on your smartphone, tablet device, laptop, and desktop to follow us now. AIT.live. On air, online.
All right, thank you for remaining with us on Democracy Today. We go straight to the issues now. The resolutions of the Southern governors have continued to receive endorsements from several quarters. The latest is the statement signed by a chairman and deputy chairman of the Justice and Equity for Peace and Unity Initiative, former Jigawa State Governor Saminu Turaki, and Chairman Emeritus of Dark Communications PLC, High Chief Raymond Dokpesi, which applauded the governors, saying the recommendations would go a long way to douse tensions in the country if implemented. The organization called on Northern governors to support their Southern counterparts, as their call to restructure the country will pave way for the evolution of state police, review of revenue allocation, and a commitment towards the practice of true federalism. And finally, on the program tonight, we turn our attention to the lingering crisis in the south and southeast of the country. The incessant attacks on police and other government installations have become worrisome. Just this Monday morning, Abia State Police Command confirmed the attack on Ubakala police station and the loss of 2 officers following the evasion of heavily armed men. At least 5 police patrol vehicles were set ablaze, in addition to the building and exhibits parked within the premises. While the Enugu State INEC office reported another attempt to set the office ablaze, which was resisted by joint security operatives and men of the State Fire Service. The fire incident, which happened at night, only affected 4 vehicles parked within the premises. No arrest has been made at this time of the incident. And in Delta State on Sunday, the police command confirmed the death of 3 police officers killed after an attack on the Unsukwa Divisional Police Station in Aniocha South local government area by unknown gunmen. A section of the police station and operational vehicles were also burnt with ammunition scattered away. We join now Kabiru Adamu and Vince Oyekwelu to help us understand what is happening. Hello, sirs.
Hello, authority, and good evening.
Good evening. Welcome. Yes, Kabiru Adamu and Vince Oyekwelu are security experts. Kabiru joins us. Mr. Adamu joins us from Abuja, while Mr. Oyekwelu joins us from Anambra State.
How are you?
Yes, welcome, Mr. Oyekwelu. Let's begin with you immediately, and we'll come back to Dr. Adamu here with me in Abuja. And for many Nigerians, you would agree with me, Vince, that there's confusion. So you would like to help us understand what is going on in the southeast Nigeria, where you currently are. You know, at first, the thinking for many Nigerians was that this was isolated attacks. But now words would fail to describe what is going on. And so I'd like to ask you, is this deliberate and coordinated attack against the state and its symbols, being the police, INEC, and so on? Mr. Oyekwelu, go ahead, please. Mr. Oyekwelu, did you hear?
I believe that these attacks are gradually unfolding because the structure. Yes, I heard your question loud and clear. I heard you very well. I believe that these attacks are developing, and I believe that in the southeast, for example, many people are becoming very worried because I'm one of those people that are totally against the targeting and the killing of Nigerian police officers. It is totally wrong. That's on one side. On the other side, if you come to the southeast, there's this level of fear. There's this level of people are not comfortable. And there seems to be a gap with what the federal government is doing currently in the southeast compared to what the federal government is doing or has done in other states of the federation where there are more serious criminal activities going on. For example, many people in the grassroots are not happy with the new presence of the Nigerian military in the streets of the southeast. There is heavy checkpoints manned by mean-looking army officers. There are checkpoints that have caused so much traffic. So the hearts and the minds of the people are not, with all due respect, are not with the federal government. For example, I met a young man that said that when the military arrives to start a new checkpoint in a community in Anambra State, for example, he runs a keke napepe. He's got one of those tricycles. The military asks him to step down from his tricycle, and they ask him to take a shovel and start to fill about 3 drums with sand because they want to set up a road check. Why would the military have to force innocent, law-abiding Nigerians to come and dig up earth to fill 2 or 3 drums for them? That is wrong. You see, you have to win the hearts and the minds of the people. When it comes to these people that are doing these attacks, they are called unknown gunmen. As much as I am against their practice of targeting innocent police officers, many Nigerians are asking, how come these unknown gunmen are not being controlled? We've heard about unknown gunmen in Zamfara, unknown gunmen in Benue State, to the extent they go to IDP camps where people that have been displaced from their ancestral lands were supposed to be kept safe. Unknown gunmen in Niger State. And right now, we have information that are credible that Niger State is the new epicenter of the war on terror. That Niger State is being fairly controlled by terrorists right now in Niger State. How come these number of military personnel were not sent to Niger State? How come they were not sent to Benue State, where the governor and the people have been protesting? How come this of military people are not disobediency? Nigerians have said during the EndSARS, they were not unknown gunmen.
All right.
They were not killing anybody. They
Mr.
were not destroying any infrastructures. But the federal government stepped down on them and disrupted their peaceful protest. So right now, this issue of unknown gunmen is becoming very academic, but the fear is the terror is very high. We are worried.
All right, Mr. Onyekwelu, yes, correct. Many Nigerians are worried. And let's turn it over now to Dr. Adamu and ask you directly, sir, what is your reading of the situation? Of course, destroying INEC offices ostensibly to weaken their capacity ahead of crucial elections. For example, Anambra governorship elections coming on later this year and 2023 elections. Those connote a lot of negatives. Also destroying security infrastructure, you know, taking away arms and leaving the citizens defenseless at the end of the day. So, and this is happening because, and of course, will begin to happen when citizens will continue to see attacks because there's no repercussions for some of this. So give us your own, what's your own analysis, sir?
Thank you very much. And building on what my friend Vince has mentioned, the trust deficit between the citizenry and the government is, to my understanding, leading to a lot of these issues. There is no gainsaying the fact that one of the regions where this trust deficit is heaviest or highest is the South and East region and the South-South region of Nigeria. Yes, you have that trust deficit in virtually every part of the country, but it's more prevalent in these two regions. And this is based on a perception of marginalization, either either real marginalization or just a perception of marginalization. One of the factors that has come out clearly over time is the inability of that region to produce a head of state, or rather the inability for that region to be given a chance to produce a head of state. Then the other factor is issues around only 5 states in that region, when that's in the Southeast region, when other regions have 6 states. Now, whether that is real or not, the people that matter, that the people in that region believe it's real. So there is a perception of marginalization. And that means any effort that government attempts to put out is mistrusted. And that mistrust now drives a lot of factors. Add that to the fact that politics, unfortunately, has played a lot of factors in the Southeast region. The most obvious place is Imo, where you were all living witnesses to how the current governor has emerged. Of course, several other states in the country where you have governors who have emerged from the courts. Zamfara State is a good example. And you will agree with me that these states have one thing in common at the moment, which is insecurity. So clearly there is politics at play in, unfortunately, in the insecurity situation in the country, in those parts of the country. The third point, which is also common to several parts of Nigeria, is the collapsed social fabric. Those elements that hold a society together, that are able to manage conflict. So in simple terms, I'll put it as conflict resolution mechanisms that are almost missing in several parts of Nigeria, but I think are more prominent in the southeast of the country. Now, this is the background.
All right.
So as a result of all of these things, it appears there is a centrifugal force that has arisen to put certain measures in order to use it to exact an interest. That interest could be against the 2023 elections. It could be to achieve certain socio-political objectives, including, for instance, I mentioned some of the perceptions of marginalization. So that's number 2. Number 3, we can ask the question, who are those that have the capacity and the capability as well as the influence to carry out the types of attacks. As at today, my consultancy has recorded about 59 of such attacks from January to May 17th on security formations. On INEC offices, we've not even fully documented those ones, but just on security force formations, 59 of such attacks spread across the entire region, across Southeast and South-South. So the question is this: who are those that have the capacity to do such coordinated attacks? The number one culprit, that the average person on the street would point a finger to are politicians who would have that ability, that influence. But then they're not going to do it themselves. Who are they going to use to achieve that? That's where the term non-state actors will come in. Of course, others would call them unknown gunmen. I would call them non-state actors. That's a generic name that covers anything from criminals to secession groups like indigenous people of Biafra and their armed networks. Now, whether they're doing this to achieve the objectives of the politicians or they have their own political objectives, unfortunately, the only time will tell. So in a nutshell, these are my understanding of what...
Right, Dr. Adamu, let's stay with you because you have also touched on something a lot of Nigerians have accused the governors of saying, chalking it up to politics, chalking it up to politicians with no names, with no faces, with no identity, with no prosecution. But let's ask you very much, because as a security expert, where is the place of intelligence and appropriate response, especially on attacks like this? We have security agencies that are capable in this country. So what is happening with their inability to nip these incidents in the bud and in many cases instead preempt an arrest and go ahead to prosecute these individuals?
One of the most abused words in Nigeria is actually that word intelligence. Or for the types of intelligence that sovereign countries rely on, unfortunately, I've come to the realization that we lack that in Nigeria. A good example is the NSAS. NSAS sort of caught us, by surprise. We were sort of left-sided when NSAS happened, mainly because our intelligence capabilities either were missing or because intelligence is a cycle from generating it to processing it to disseminating it. Now, will the receiver that we disseminate it to use it? That's another thing. So I'm not, for instance, blaming the intelligence community. All I'm saying is that whether it is the collection or the dissemination or the use in Nigeria currently, we are not taking full advantage of our intelligence capabilities.
All right.
Unfortunately for us, the modern world of today has even advanced. You have the cyberspace that is even bigger than the physical world where we are. And I know, and I'm sure Vince will agree with this, that a lot of what is happening happens in the cyberspace. If you don't have presence in the cyberspace, then you would never know what is happening in today's world. So it's clear that we are left behind in the entire cycle of intelligence, not just collection, but even processing and dissemination. All
right, Dr. Adamu, my final question to you before I go over to Vince will be to ask you, the governors recently have come out calling for state police and all of that, and many Nigerians have supported that, and I hope that, I guess that you would have done so, but you will clarify that for us when you answer the question now. But I'd like to ask you, are the state governors who are making this request, are they also doing enough with what they have in terms of security votes which they collect, which goes on unaccounted for, as well as economic development? Because people have fingered the lack of governed spaces and wide swath of land and social fabric, which you also mentioned, as well as some of the problems. So are the governors doing enough?
So, time will not allow me to delve into the...
All right, please do 30 seconds and we'll come back again another day for that.
But I would summarize my intention. So yes, I am supportive of decentralization of the police. And I use this word, carefully, decentralization of the policing system in Nigeria that would lead to eventually state police and community policing. But it's a process. It's not something that will happen by fiat. There are so many things that there is a lacuna in our constitution that will have to be corrected. And that is where, when we come to discuss the issue of the Asaba Declaration, I would find what the governors did as quiet, remarkable as politicians. They will make or mar this country. They have the powers. They know, in fact, the person who made that announcement is his son. And he knows that announcement does not carry any constitutional power. I would have been happier if, as governors and as son, they have taken advantage of the various platforms that would effect the constitutional changes that would lead to those demands, as against the kind of political statement that I had. And perhaps in other forum, we can discuss what I mean by those constitutional platforms that would effect change.
All right, Dr. Adamu, of course, we'll be inviting you back for more on that issue. Thank you very much for being part of it today. But Vince, before we go on the program today, let's ask you this question, because you spoke about the issue of hearts and minds. So you want to tell us how the Nigerian state can go ahead to win back the hearts and minds of the people who feel disgruntled and the people who you say are probably going against the state institutions at this moment? Hello?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Mr. Onyekulu. Yes, the question is for you, sir.
Can you repeat that question, please? Can you repeat?
All right, I said you spoke about hearts and minds, right? And so I'd like for you to tell us how you think the government can win back those hearts and minds, galvanize the nation, galvanize the public, and in essence, put an end to the elements who are causing trouble.
Now, listen to this, yeah. In the country called Nigeria, we don't really have respect for the police. You cannot win the hearts of the minds of people when you are seen to be an oppressor. Now, the NSAS protesters try to give us a snippet that the masses are not happy. What the government did was to crush them with a big sledgehammer. Now you have unknown gunmen across the country. None of them has been arrested. All the way from Zamfara State, Kaduna, Southern Kaduna, nobody has been arrested. These unknown gunmen and bandits are the ones that have been kidnapping Nigerian students, raping Nigerian students, killing Nigerian students, and most of them end up getting big monies they take back home. Nobody has been arrested or prosecuted. Now you are hearing about unknown gunmen in the southeast. You are rushing down to crush them. How can you win the hearts of the people? I'll give you another example. A woman was crying this afternoon that she was coming back from Ekoka, and a soldier at a checkpoint asked her to give him some mangoes that she bought to sell, and she refused to give him the mangoes. You know what he did to the woman? He asked the woman to get down from the vehicle and start walking home, asked the vehicle to drive away. You cannot win the hearts of the people with this kind of treatment. You don't have to take their monies. At this checkpoint, they take monies from commuters. You cannot win the hearts of the people and the minds of the people.
All right, Mr. Onyekulu, I think we have deduced points from what you have shared, the examples you have shared with us. And I'd like to thank yourself, Mr. Onyekulu, as well as Dr. Adamu, veteran security experts, for being part of our conversation. We thank you for your time. Of course, we'll revisit this conversation very shortly, again, because we still have left so much untouched. For our viewers, that's it on Democracy Today. The AIT News Hour comes up next. I'm Musaitin Yari. Enjoy your evening.